Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to be here. I guess we can get started right now. And I would like you to welcome to the 2020 Service Desk Plus Masterclass series. And I'm glad you guys are here. So, for those of you who have attended our previous Masterclass series, welcome back. And for those of you who haven't attended our Masterclass series, let me just give you a quick introduction to what the Masterclass series is all about. So, in this series, what we try to do is we try to educate our customers on all the features that are available to them, and we try to teach you best practices that you can use in your organization to improve various ITSM practices for yourself. So now that we got that out of the way, today we're going to be looking at 6 ways to implement an effective incident management process. So my name is Jainra John Xavier, and I'm a product consultant with ServiceDesk Plus. So today we're going to be looking at Zilker. Zilker is a software product company, and just like all of us, right, they have not been spared over these past 2 years. So the pandemic actually caused a lot of changes within Zilker. So initially, we noticed that almost every organization, right, due to government mandates and due to health reasons, everybody was forced to work from home, right? So the entire workforce literally became a remote workforce, right? But now we see that 2 years on the pandemic, and now that the pandemic has thankfully started slowing down, we see that organizations have started calling people back, and employees too have started coming back to office. And Zilker is no exception. So we see that a lot of new employees need to come to office for on-site training, and there are a lot of essential meetings that require the physical presence of employees in the organization, and also all the people who are working in critical tasks, right? They too are required to work from office. And we see that Zilker has adopted a hybrid work environment now, where they have employees working from home and employees from office as well. Now, how does Zilker support all of them? So, how does Zilker's IT service desk support both kind of employees? And we're going to be looking at some of the challenges that Zilker faced, and we're going to see how you can overcome these challenges by simple best practices and features that are readily available for you right in Service Desk Plus. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the challenges that Zilker's IT team faced. So these are the 5 challenges. So number one, we see that a number of technicians are on sick leave. So contrary to popular belief, right, the IT technicians, they are not invincible, right? They too are people, and especially given such a context where there's a global pandemic, you have multiple technicians who are falling sick as well. And when they are sick, they are unavailable, right? And you know what? IT tickets do not wait for technicians who are sick, right? Regardless of whether they are sick or whether they are working in office, tickets still do come in, right? And as a result, the service desk is understaffed. So Zilker had an issue there where they were struggling to keep up with the IT tickets because they did not have mechanisms in place to delegate work and so on. Next up, we see that their central servers are overclocked, and the need for increasing server capacity goes unnoticed. Now, due to it could be due to a busy schedule or whatever, they haven't maintained their servers properly, and as a result, they fail to identify the need to increase their server capacity. And what this does is this leads to server crashes, which ultimately results in their end users being unable to access their files and the organization's applications, which can ultimately cause a business downtime. Next up, we also see that technicians, right, or the service desk fails to notice that fails to identify major incidents as soon as they are reported. And we see that they only identify the major incident when they get a flood of tickets into the service desk. Now, this is not ideal because ideally you want to identify your major incidents and treat them separately because they are high priority. They are high priority tickets, and you want to get them resolved as soon as possible. And finally, we see all of this together, and all the other challenges they had ultimately meant that their incident response strategy was very poor, and this resulted in prolonged business downtime, ultimately affecting the business's profitability, which is something you definitely want to avoid as a service desk. Okay, so Now let's look at 6 ways Zilker can implement an effective incident management. So here are the 6 ways. So the first one is to be within easy reach of your users. So it's vital for your service desk that you are accessible to your end users, and no matter what the situation is, they are able to reach the service desk and report the issues that they are facing. Okay, and the next thing is to capture every detail about the incident. So it's important that your end user gives all the relevant details about the incident to your technician, so that they don't have to, have constant back and forths with the end user to get the information they need to resolve the end user's incident, right? So that's another important best practice. Next up, it's we're going to see why it's important to automate manual tasks and how you can leverage the various automations available in Service Desk Plus to improve your quality of life for your technicians and your service desk. Next up, we're going to see the importance of standard operating procedures for the incident resolution process and how this can improve the overall standard of your service desk so your tickets are resolved on time and they meet your service desk objectives and your end users are satisfied as well. We are also going to see why a knowledge base is very important and how you can build a comprehensive repository of solutions to empower your end users and also alleviate this all L1 tickets from the service desk. And finally, we're going to be talking about metrics. So metrics is something that I value very highly, and if you've worked in a service desk, you know how important it is, right? So we're going to see how you can evaluate your actual performance and ensure that you do not get caught in a watermelon effect, but you actually your performance, right, your reports and your metrics also match up with your customer satisfaction as well. Okay, so now that we've seen the 6 ways, let's go into detail for each one of them. So starting with being within reach of your users through multi-channel incident logging. So like I just said, right, it's very important for a service desk to have multiple channels for logging incidents. So just a quick example for this would be like, imagine you are an end user and you're working from home, right? You're an employee working from home. And the only way for you to connect with your service desk is through your, let's say, your service desk application, which is on your workstation. Now imagine your workstation stops working, right? And now you don't have a way to even connect to the service desk, right? So this is why it's important that you have multiple channels, so that no matter what situation your end user is in, they are always able to reach out to the service desk and they are able to log their incident and get it resolved as soon as possible. Now, in Service Desk, we support multiple different ways through which you can do this. So, starting with the self-service portal, then we have the live chat feature. We also have Zia, which is our virtual AI chatbot, which you can use to raise requests and perform a bunch of other activities as well. Then we have integrations with popular third-party collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams. Now, this is a great thing for most organizations because they have been using a lot of Teams, especially during the pandemic, to collaborate within their teams itself. And we're going to show you how the integration works. And finally, we have the usual methods, right? Which is email, which is very basic. And we also have the telephone feature where you can call the service desk and let them know you have an issue, and a technician can raise a ticket on behalf of you, right? So now let's go ahead and look at each of these features in detail. Okay, so we're going to jump into Service Desk Plus now. So currently we are on the technician view, and this is the home page. So I'm sure this is a very familiar site for most of you. But now we are going to be looking at how as an end user, you can raise tickets through the different channels. So I'm going to jump to the self-service portal from an end user. So currently I have logged in as Mark, who is my end user. And at the moment, we can see the Zilka's enterprise portal, right? So in case you weren't already aware, Service Desk Plus is not just limited to your IT service desk for IT, but you can also take this service desk for all your other departments as well, like your HR, facilities, legal, travel, and so on. But today we are going to be looking at the IT help desk. So I'm going to select the IT help desk. Okay. And right now I'm greeted with the screen, right? So I have actually gone ahead and customized my self-service portal with a couple of other functionalities over here. In case you guys want to do something similar to this, please reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you set up something similar for your organization. So if I scroll down, so this is what a standard self-service portal would look like, and this entire screen is completely customizable. So I'll show you where you can go do that just a little later, right? Okay, so currently we can see from the self-service portal that there are these three major modules, right? So Mark, our end user, can report an issue by clicking on this button. He can raise a service request over here, and he can view all the solutions of the organizations that is available to him right from here. Additionally, if we scroll down, I'll just show you what else is there. So we have multiple different widgets that you can create and add it over here so that it gives your end user a little bit more information, right? Like announcements that are available for him, most used service templates, and a summary of all his tickets and tasks right from here. So now we're going to be looking at how he can report an issue using the self-service portal. So I'm going to go ahead, click report an issue, and as soon as I click that, I see that I'm greeted with a large number of incident templates, right? And we see that there are unique incident templates for each relevant type of ticket. So I'll show you how you can create all of this a little later when we look at the next point. But currently, I want you guys to pay attention to this because we will be coming back to this. So currently, Mark has an issue with his workstation. So he's gonna go and click the workstation template because it is available for him. In case he can't find a relevant template, he can go he can go select the default request template and create a ticket from there. So I'm going to select on the workstation issue, just wait for the template to load in. And right now I see that there are multiple fields that are available for me to fill as an end user. So right off the bat, I see that the first field is what my work mode is. So Mark is, let's say, is currently working from office. So I can go select work mode as office. And then I'm going to select the impact. So I'm going to select the impact as affects user, and the urgency as we can put it as high because I'm unable to use my workstation, and if I don't have my workstation I can't work. So we see the category, right? So I'm going to go and select the category as workstation, and as soon as I select workstation we see that another field shows up, right? So all this while it wasn't there. So let me just go ahead and select a different category and it's gone, right? So I want you to remember this because I'm going to show how you can build such a dynamic form so that you collect relevant information. So Mark's going to choose the category as workstation and select the operating system as Windows because it's important for the technician to know what the operating system is so that he can easily resolve the issue for Mark. So now that I've added all my details, I can just quickly add a description if necessary, but for sake of time, I'm just going to skip this for now, and I'm going to go ahead and add the request. Okay, and the request has been created. So now that was pretty simple, right, for Mark? So let me go to the request tab under for Mark, and over here, if I click on this ticket, I can easily get all the details about this ticket that I just created. So if I click on the details, I can see all the details I've added. And right here, we see that this ticket is due in 8 hours, 59 minutes. Okay, so this sets the expectation for Mark as well. So right from here, Mark can see the status of his ticket. He can see which technician is assigned to it. And Mark is happy now because he knows his ticket is being worked on by Mike and it will be resolved within 9 hours. So this is what it looks like for Mark. Let's just quickly jump to the technician portal and I'll show you how it looks like for a technician when a new ticket comes in. So as a technician, I'm going to go to the request tab over here. So we see that now I have my ticket list view, right? So if you notice, we can see all these different colors here, right? So this is one of our newer features where we have added color coding. So you can go click on this button over here, enable row color settings, and you can edit them from here. So currently I've set the colors based on priority, and over here I can choose the color I want and the opacity as well. So this just makes it a little easier for me to identify tickets that are of high priority, and it just makes it a little bit easier. I also have a bunch of other views that are available to me. So if I click on this, we can get, this is another view where we can see a little more details about the ticket, and we also have a Kanban view for our tickets, which makes it a lot easier. So I can group the tickets based on priority, status, or technician, and I can move tickets between these different priorities to change the criteria within the ticket. Like I can move this to low, and it'll be, now the priority has been updated. So it's just very intuitive. Okay, before we get sidetracked, let me go ahead and show you the ticket we just created, which is the workstation issue for Mark. So I'll click on the ticket and just quickly run through the workspace for your technician, right? So over here, we have the conversations tab where you can have a conversation with the requester without having to go to your email, right? So there's no need for you to jump between windows. You can just easily have a conversation right from here. And then the details tab, you can see all the details of your ticket. Tasks tab is where you can create tasks and assign them to even different technicians. So this is all the work that is required for this particular ticket. And then in the resolutions tab, you can go add your resolutions. Under reminders, you can set up reminders for this particular ticket. And if this ticket needs any approvals, you can submit it for approval and it will show up over here. So it will be recorded over here. You can use work logs to log the work done by your technicians, and you can add those details over here as well. And finally, we have the history tab where you can see all the activities that have been performed on this particular ticket. So it just helps with accountability. We'll look at the time elapsed analysis a little bit later. Okay. So this is one way through which you can raise a ticket from the self-service portal, and I also showed you how a technician can work on this ticket. So we are done with the first method. So now let's just jump back to the self-service portal for Mark, and let's look at the two other methods we have. So right here we have something called the live chat option. So I'm going to click on the live chat, and I'm going to create a ticket that laptop is not working, or VPN issue or whatever, and I'm going to select on chat. And immediately we see there's a timer, and I get a notification as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the chat request right from here, and I can have a conversation with the end user right from here, and I can try to resolve his issue from chat. And if it requires more investigation or more work, then I can convert this chat as a request. So let me show you how that works. I'm just going to convert this into a request, and I can go ahead and close and end the chat session once it's over. And we see the session has been ended, and Mark can go ahead and give his feedback over here. And if we refresh the request tab over here, it'll show up here. So yep, so we see the ticket has been created, and we see how simple it is, right, using the live chat. And next up, we're going to see how you can create a ticket using Zia. Now, Zia is our virtual AI chatbot, and you can click on the Zia button, which is on the right hand corner of your screen, and then you can type in your request. So like I said, there's a large number of actions that you can perform. So currently, since we're talking about how you can raise a request, I'm going to go select raise a ticket, and I'm going to raise my incident over here. Let's say VPN issue, and hit enter. And my ticket has been created, and we can verify if the ticket has been created just by refreshing the screen over here, and we see the ticket has been created. So these are just three different ways through which you can raise a ticket in ServiceDesk Plus. Now let me show you how you can set these up. So you need to set up the live chat, you need to go to applications and add-ons, go to chat settings, and over here you need to enable the live chat, and you have a bunch of configurations available for you which you can set up based on your needs. And under Zia, you go to the Zia under setup and click on Zia chatbot, and over here you need to enable it and select the different the chat modes that will be active. So you can use the web chat, the mobile chat, or even voice chat from your Android or iOS devices as well. Okay, so these are the different ways you can see in ServiceDesk Plus, and we also have our emails, right? So to set up your email, you actually need to go to your mail server settings and set up your mail server. So this is where you come and add the details. And when you send an email to this email address, it will automatically create it as a ticket using the default incident template. And if you choose to, you can disable new request or new ticket creation through email by selecting this box. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the integration with Microsoft Teams and see how this works. So let's jump to Microsoft Teams. And once you add the Service Desk Plus Cloud application, we see that the entire Service Desk Plus UI can come into your Microsoft Teams, and it becomes very easy for you to raise a ticket. You can just go and create an incident from here. Or if that's too much of a hassle, you can also use the chat bot where you can type in the command like create a VPN, create a request with VPN issues. And once you type in the command, it will create a ticket for you in your instance. And to set this integration up, you just need to go to applications and add-ons, go down to integrations and enable the Microsoft Teams integration. If you click on details, you can get more information on how you set this up. And if you need help setting this up for your organization, please do reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you. So, okay, that brings us to the end of the first point, which is being within reach of your users through multi-channel incident logging. So now let's jump to the second point, which is capturing every detail about an incident with custom dynamic forms. So like I showed you earlier, right, when we saw Mark creating a ticket, we saw the moment he selected the category as workstation, it automatically showed a field for him to collect relevant information about the ticket. So with Service Desk Plus, we have a couple of features which enable you to collect these relevant and specific information from your requesters. So we have templates, form rules, and customizations. Now let's go ahead and look at how they work. So let's go back to setup and scroll down to templates and forms, and under incident template we see this is where you can see all the different incident templates that we saw when Mark was creating a ticket, right? So we saw all these different incident templates, and you can create multiple new incident templates to for different kinds of incidents. So for Zilker, right, they had a lot of workstation issues. So what they did is they went ahead and created an incident called workstation issue. So let's go ahead and click on this incident and see how you can set up such an incident template. So right here, we see that we have the screen here, right? So we have the technician view, requester view, tasks, and form rules. So each template has two different views. One view is for the technician, which will have all the fields that are there, and another view for the requester, where you can restrict the fields that are available to them and the fields that they can fill up. So this is a very intuitive drag and drop canvas where you can build templates just by dragging and dropping these fields. So you can actually build very well organized fields and make it look really neat. And you know what? It's not just visual, but it's also functional, because you can select each field and make it mark it as a mandatory field, a field that the requester can set, or a field that the requester can view. So an example would be the priority field is something that I do not want the requester to set, because requesters think their issues are always the highest priorities, right? So in a service desk, you do not want something like that. You want to segregate your tickets so that tickets that are really important are only marked as high priority tickets. So over here, you can do that. And when you go to the requester view, you can select the fields that you added to the technician view, and you can add them over here. So any field that you want to add for the requester view has to be added in the technician view. And you can add multiple new fields, right? So these are most of the fields that come out of the box, but we know each of your organizations has very specific needs and use cases. So we've given you the ability to collect any kind of information that you want. So you can choose a large number of input types from here. You can drag and drop them, and then you can add the information as well. And you can also choose to encrypt the field so that you hide any personally identified information as well, and you stay compliant with data protection laws. Okay, so now let's look at the tasks tab. So under the tasks tab, you can actually go ahead and assign tasks to the template right here. So since the workstation issue is a common issue, it happens all the time. And this issue has two standard tasks that are always performed, which is to check if you can run a remote control session. And the second thing is to run a diagnostics. So you don't want technicians to be creating these two tasks every time this ticket is created, right? So to make life a little bit easier for them, you can add these tasks to the incident template right here so that whenever it is created, these two tasks are automatically created and assigned to the incident right from here. And finally, we have form rules, which is honestly my favorite feature because it makes your forms dynamic. And it's very interesting, right? You just click on a certain kind of category and it can show specific fields or specific information that you want to collect. So let me show you how this works. So this is basically a condition-based action where I can choose where this rule applies. If does it apply for all users, which templates it is associated to, and when exactly this rule is executed. Like I can choose whenever the ticket is created or whenever it is edited, and whenever there's a field change of category. So this is what I have done to add that functionality. So I chose the category is workstation, and whenever the category is workstation for the workstation issue template, then I will choose to show this field, which is show the field operating system, and I choose to mandate it as well. And this is how I can make the field, and this is how I can make the template dynamic. So now we've seen how you can build different incident templates and how you can build form rules to make them dynamic. Now let's go ahead and quickly look at all the customizations that are available for you to collect specific information and to prioritize and categorize your ticket types. So under category, if we go down to, okay, let me show you where this is for those of you who are new to this. Go to customization and under help desk, we have all the different categories, status, and so on. So under category, you can create new category types and you can choose to assign them to specific technicians. You can create new subcategories, new items just to make it easy for you to track your tickets. Next up, you can create different kinds of statuses for each of your tickets. You can set different levels, different modes, and we also have different impacts that you can create, and these are completely customizable, and urgency as well. And then you can also create different kinds of priority. So over here I have high, low, medium, and normal, and I've also set color codes for each of them. All of this is completely customizable, by the way, and remember, none of this requires any scripting or any coding. Literally anybody can do that, right? Pretty simple. Next up, we have the priority matrix, which is very interesting. So this is an automation where it takes the impact and urgency into account, and it can automatically set the priority for the ticket. So we collected the information from Mark, right? The impact and the urgency, but we didn't collect the priority because it was automatically assigned. You can create different request types, you can create different task types, work log types, and you can also create different closure codes. Now, closure codes are really important when you take a report, when you generate reports and you want to know the performance of your service desk, right? How many tickets have been successfully closed, how many have been canceled, and so on. So basically, we have given you the ability to completely customize your incident management module and fit it to your organization instead of your organization fitting to your incident management process, right? So that brings us to the end of the second point. Now let's jump to the third one, which is automating manual tasks with simple configurations in the graphical user interface. So we offer a number of automations ranging from simple automations to really complex automations, and most of them are no code, no scripting required automations that anybody can easily set up. And I'm going to show you how intuitive they are. Okay, so let's look at the automations we're going to be seeing right now. So for today, we're just going to be looking at most of the automations that you can do using the GUI, right? So we have business rules, we have service level agreements, technician auto assign closure rules, and notification rules. Let's jump into ServiceDesk Plus and see how all of these automations work. So I'm going to jump into setup, and under automations, we have all of them very neatly arranged, so it's easy for you to find them. And I'm going to be looking at business rules first. So over here, Business rules are again condition based actions that you can perform. So let me open a business rule and show you so that you understand it better. So similar to how form rules work, right? These are again condition based. You can select when they are executed, and this automation actually runs on your tickets itself rather than just when you're submitting the details of the. So over here, I can choose the conditions. So whenever for this particular business rule, I'm choosing to route the ticket if it's a workstation category, and if the operating system is Windows, I'm going to route this ticket to the technician group hardware management so that they can take care of this ticket. Okay, so this is just a simple business rule, and you can set it up like this. So you can choose to route your tickets to specific users, specific technicians or technician groups, or you can even choose to perform a little more advanced tasks like aborting ticket creation. Now, when we took Zilka's example, right, we saw that their server went down, and as a result, end users weren't able to reach their services. So we see that in such situations, you get tons of tickets from literally every user that is affected, that they are unable to access the services. So ideally, you will be creating an announcement and you will be sending it. Okay, so in such a case, so even though you have made an announcement and you have informed the users that there is an issue, um, even then there definitely are stubborn people who will still be creating tickets, right? For those kind of people, you can actually create a business rule where you automatically abort the process, right? So I've set up a business rule here that when the template is unable to access services, or if the subject contains services or any other keyword, I can set it up over here. I automatically abort the process and I inform them that there is a issue and we're actively trying to fix it. Okay, actually we're trying to fix it. Now let me show you how this actually works. Let's jump back to Mark's self-service portal, and I'm going to try creating a ticket through the and try creating a ticket. So imagine Mark hasn't seen the announcement and he's trying to create a ticket that his services are down. So I'm going to go ahead and select the category as network, and I'm going to try to add this ticket. Oh yeah, we need to select the work mode and add a request, and we see immediately it is being aborted, right? So you can't create a ticket. So this is one way you can just stop them from unnecessarily creating tickets. Now let's jump to the other automations that we were looking. So we're going to look at SLAs right now. So I'm going to jump to the service level agreements feature over here. Now, service level agreements basically set the expectation for your end users and also for your technicians by defining the time within which a ticket has to be resolved or responded. So let me show you the high SLA that I have selected over here, and I can automatically assign the SLA based on certain ticket criteria. So over here, I've chosen that whenever the priority of a ticket is high, it's automatically going to be assigned the high SLA. And a high SLA needs to be responded within 2 hours, and it needs to be resolved within 6 hours. And I can choose to mark it as if I need to take the operation hours into account or not, and I can choose to include holidays and weekends too. And not only that, I also have multiple levels of approvals that I can of escalations that I can set up for the SLA. So I can set up one level of escalation for response time and up to four levels of escalations for resolution. So in case this ticket has not been responded to within half an hour, or like within 1.5 hours, then I can choose to escalate it to either a specific technician or the reporting manager of the technician this ticket has been assigned to. Or I can also choose to perform certain custom actions like notify certain stakeholders and even perform a field update. I'll show you that when we look at a resolution escalation. And similarly for resolution time, we can set up different escalations. It works the same way, and you can set up both proactive and reactive escalations, and you can mark the time within which they need to be escalated. And again, you can escalate it to the reporting manager of the technician or a different organizational role. And you can also configure that fields need to be updated. So over here, I'm choosing the field technician to be updated to the particular technician so that when it is escalated, it's automatically moved to Jainraj John. Okay, so that's how SLAs work. So now let's look at the technician auto assign. So this is very self-explanatory. It's a really simple feature, but again, very useful because this speeds things up, and you don't need a dedicated person to assign tickets to to your technicians, right? So you can choose what type of tickets will be included for the technician auto assign. Choose the type of auto assign model that you want, whether it's round robin, load balancing, or a new feature which is Zia, which can automatically suggest a technician based on the information it has learned so far. You can choose when it is executed, and you also have a bunch of other configurations available for you here, like considering technician availability. You can exclude certain technicians and also enable exceptions, like if the priority is high, you can exclude it from the technician auto assign. So the next automation we have is closure rules. So over here, you can mark certain fields as mandatory fields, so that only if these fields are filled in will the ticket be able to be closed, right? So you can't close the ticket without giving a resolution, right? So in most cases, so you can mark the resolution here, so that only if the resolution field is filled in can you close the ticket. And you also have a bunch of other configurations available for you, like confirm user acknowledgement. You can automatically close a resolved ticket after a certain period of time. Let's say if a ticket is in the resolved state for a day, it'll automatically be moved to closed state. And you also can close a ticket automatically when all associated tasks are completed, if you select on this box right over here. And finally, we have our notification rules. Again, a very simple feature, but saves a lot of time. So you can choose the events under which a notification is automatically sent to stakeholders. So over here, you can choose three different ways of notifying them. One is through email, one is through SMS notification, or the push notification that you get over here, right? Like this. So, and not only that, you can actually customize each of these templates. So you can go and customize the template and send the information that you want to send them. And there is a large number of events that are available. So like you can notify a technician when a request is assigned. If you mark this, it will automatically send a notification to them. This again saves time because your technicians don't have to do this manually, and your end users are happy because they know the status of their ticket, right? They know if a task has been added or if a resolution has been added, and they are informed right then and there. So that is notification rules. And these are just some of the automations that we have available that you can set up using the graphical user interface. And we see that these are very intuitive and very easy to set up, right? So I hope most of you are using this, and in case you didn't know this, I hope you will be using these automations in the future. So the next point is to standardize the incident resolution process. So now standard operating procedure is something that is very important and vital for your organization to ensure that your service desk is maintaining a very high standard of incident resolution, right? So that your technicians are happy. And not only that, by setting up standard operating procedures, you're also guiding your technicians into what steps they need to follow, right? Like you can guide a technician on what he needs to do next. Now this is especially beneficial right now. Even in Zilka's case, they had IT technicians working from the office and some of them working remotely, especially when they were under quarantine where they couldn't come into office, right? So in some cases they recovered, but they still couldn't come in because they had to quarantine for a certain number of days. So in these cases, when especially it's a new technician and he doesn't know what to do, if they were in a office environment, they could just walk up to their colleague and ask them, hey, what do I do next for this ticket, right? But currently in their situation, it's not possible. And we all know how annoying phone calls are, right? Sometimes they are not available, sometimes your network is bad or whatever, right? So in such cases, having a standard operating procedure can really help you out. So in Zilka's case, we're going to, and these are some of the features that are available for you. So we have the request lifecycle, we have preventive maintenance tasks, delegations, and announcements. So we're going to take Zilka's use case, right? So we saw they had a challenge where in case a major incident comes in, they were unable to identify it right then and there, and it got delayed. As a result, this affected the their business operations, right? So let's see how you can overcome these issues. So if we click on the request lifecycle under automation, I'm going to select the major incident request lifecycle that I have created. So over here, a request lifecycle is basically, it defines the flow of your ticket through its various statuses. So we see that these are the ticket statuses. So we have open, analysis, triage, trigger, RCA, in progress, resolved, and so on, right? And we see that there are two distinct paths that this ticket can take to go to its closure state, right? And between each status transition, we have something called a transition. So over here, I have two transitions called not a major incident and a major incident. So if this ticket is a major incident, then the technician can move it to the analysis state only. And if it's not a major incident, it can be moved to the in progress status only. And if we click on this transition, we see that there is a before stage, a during, and after. And we see that I can set up a criteria that when the urgency is urgent and the impact is affects business, only then does this transition show up. And let me show you an example for a during a transition. So over here in the resolve transition, I've selected that only if the resolution field is mandatorily filled in, can I move it to the next status. And for an after, I'm going to show you where I'm setting up a couple of rules. So for the trigger RCA transition, I'm choosing to automatically create a problem for this major incident. And I'm also choosing to add a task that says check the network. So this is how a request lifecycle works. And I'm going to show you how it works in real life, right? So I'm going to go down to requests and I'm going to select a new incident. So I'm going to use the default request because this major incident workflow has been assigned to this. I'm just going to quickly go and create a ticket for you right now. So affects business and urgency is urgent. I am going to select the subject as server is down. And I'm going to add the, okay, let me just quickly select the technician, I mean the requester, and add a request. And the ticket has been assigned to me, and we see that the transition that is available for me, right? So since this is a high priority and we saw that the details, right, the impact affects business and the urgency is urgent, I only have this transition available to me. So I'm going to click on major incident and it's going to move it to the next status. And if I select the next transition available to me, it's going to move it to the next status, which is triage. And when I trigger the RCA over here, I told you, right, it's going to create a problem ticket as well. So if we open the, if we open the problems module, we see that a ticket has been created, which is server is down. And this ticket has been automatically created, right? And now once all of this is done, I can go and close the task that has been created automatically. And once the task has been completed, I can go ahead and close the ticket. So I'm going to go select the fix the transition as fixed and success and move it over to closed. And we see that the ticket has been closed. So we can see how this actually guides your technicians into what they do next, right? And this actually is the standard operating procedure, and it helps you maintain the standard of your service desk. Okay, so moving on, we're going to look at how you can create preventive maintenance tasks. So we saw that for Zilker, they weren't maintaining their servers properly, and as a result, they failed. So if you click on the maintenance tab, you can go and set up a periodic server maintenance and health checkup. So you can choose the time period within which this ticket is going to be created. So I've selected so that on the first of every month, it's going to automatically create a ticket so that a technician is going to go ahead and perform a maintenance check on the server. And this is how the ticket, a created ticket would look like. So this is how the ticket would look like. And all the ticket details are here, and this ensures that you periodically check on all your important assets and you ensure that your servers are up to the mark, right? So that's how the preventive maintenance tasks work. And next up, we are going to look at delegations. So we saw in Service Desk Plus, right? In Zilka's case, they had technicians who were sick and they are unavailable. And how do you actually delegate these tasks to other technicians? To do this, you actually need to go to setup. And first of all, you need to go and enable the delegations under automation. So you need to go and enable this first, and next up you're going to go to the scheduler, right? So over here your technician can mark their unavailability. So over here I can see that a technician is unavailable, and this green icon means that there has been a delegation set up for this particular technician. So when Jendra John is on leave, on casual leave, we see that the ownership of upcoming tickets is going to be delegated to Hugh, and all upcoming approvals are also delegated to Hugh, and you have a bunch of different configurations available for you. So this way you can make sure that even if your technician is unavailable, your tickets are being assigned to a technician and they are being taken care of. So over here we see that a delegation has not been set up, and by clicking on this button you can go ahead and set up your delegation. And finally, we have announcements. So we spoke about announcements a little earlier, right? Like when the services are down, you can go ahead and create an announcement. So I can select on the announcements tab under home, and over here I've already created this announcement. I'll just show you the capabilities available for you. So you can add the title, the description, you can add the schedule time, the priority, services involved, and you can also choose to show it to all users or make it private, and also email this notification to key stakeholders. And if you go to the self-service portal, under announcements, you can see the announcements right from here as well. Okay, so now that brings us to the end of this point. Moving on, we're going to see how you can create a solution base and how you can empower your end users by helping them resolve their issues by themselves, right? So in ServiceDesk Plus, you can actually set up, you can create multiple solutions, you can organize them under topics, you can set up approvals, role-based access, and also review and expiry dates. So if we go back to ServiceDesk Plus and go to the Solutions tab, we see that we have all our solutions over here neatly arranged, and they are arranged under their topics as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on a solution and show you how it looks. So let me just go ahead and edit the solution, and over here I can add a title, I can add the solution over here, choose the topic name, and add keywords. So now when my end user is marked, right, so let's say he's going to create an issue, and let's say he selects the default request, and he's going to type in the subject as issue, right, or services. It automatically is going to show him uh, is going to show him any solutions that are available. So now Mark can just select this solution, and if it resolves his issue, well and good, right? He doesn't need to create a ticket. But in case it doesn't, he can still go ahead and create a ticket and get his issue resolved. And now these solutions can be sent for approval, so that your solutions are of high standard and they meet the standards of your organization. And over here, you can also see the solutions that have gotten a thumbs up and any comments that have been added to them as well. And by adding an expiry date or review date, you can ensure these solutions are always up to date. And you can also choose to publish it in the self-service portal and show it to all users or specific user groups. So that is how solutions work. So this is just a feature that you can use to empower your end users and help deflect L1 tickets from your service desk. Okay, and now finally moving on to a final topic, which is evaluate your performance and a deep dive into analytics. So this is all about metrics, how you're going to track your performance through reports, dashboards, surveys, and time analysis. So let's go ahead and look at all of these features. So jumping to Service Desk Plus, and under the reports module, you have a large number of reports that come out of the box. So you can choose any one of these reports to generate a report really easily, right? So you can choose incidents completed by priority, and just like that, you have your report. In case these reports are not enough for you, you can also create custom reports where you can really go down to the details and get specific information you need. You can create a drill down analysis, create query reports. You can also schedule reports where they are automatically scheduled periodically, and they are sent to key stakeholders so that you always stay on top of your metrics. Next up, we have the live dashboards. So if we go back to home and under dashboards, we have these really interactive, visual, and interesting dashboards where you can easily get information at a glance. So you can actually set up multiple different dashboards and customize them based on the different modules that you have. So currently, this is on the help desk. So this is all the information that you can easily get. So right from here, I can see how many requests were closed last week, how many open requests are there by priority, right? Medium, normal, not assigned, how many have been violated, and so on. So basically all the information you need right from here. But and also we have the time analysis, elapsed analysis. So like I told you earlier, right, when I was showing you the ticket, if you go down into each ticket, you have a time elapsed analysis. So if you click on this, you can see how long the ticket has been in what status, how long it has been assigned to a technician or a technician group, and you can easily see that information right from here. And now, finally, of course, metrics, right? It can lead to a watermelon effect where you're like, okay, my metrics all look good. So that means my service desk is doing really well, right? But in reality, the most important thing is, are your end users satisfied? And how do you collect your feedback from end users? You can do that using reports, using surveys, I mean. So let's go up to setup. And if we scroll down to user surveys and under survey settings, with Service Desk Plus, you actually get Zoho surveys as well, where you can build really detailed survey templates and collect your satisfaction scores from your end users. So over here, you can configure them like when the survey needs to be sent, and you can also choose to exclude surveys based on certain criteria or exclude technicians from the survey as well. So let me show you the survey templates. So this is a survey template that I just created, and let's just wait for it to load in real quick. And you see, you can create really detailed surveys, right? And you can make it really visual, and you can set up different kinds of question types, right? If you click on edit the template, we can see that there are multiple different questions. So this ensures that you can get the true satisfaction feedback from your end users, and this helps you prevent a watermelon effect because you can easily look at the details over here, see the number of responses, the overall scores. You can also set up survey rules and set up condition-based action for your surveys. Like you can choose to exclude them from certain technicians or any other criteria that is required for your organization. And under survey results, you can just go ahead and look at the results of your survey in one place. So these are some of the ways through which you can track your metrics, track your performance, and not just track them, but also ensure that you actually track the true performance of your service desk and ensure you're not stuck in a watermelon effect and your end users are satisfied as well. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the session. So let me just do a real quick recap over what we saw today. So we saw that the first best practice is to ensure that you're available for your end users across multiple channels so that they are not left stranded on an island, right? They always have a way of reaching out to you and sending out an SOS. And we also saw how you can use templates, form rules, and customizations to collect specific relevant information from your end users right during ticket creation to make your technician's life a lot more easier. Speaking of making technician lives easier, we have many automations that you can leverage to improve quality of life for your end users by automatically assigning the ticket, using business rules, except SLAs, and notification rules to speed up the incident resolution process and help your technicians as well. We also saw how you can set up a standard operating procedure and prevent what Zilka did, right? Overcome their challenge where they did not have a standard operating procedure and they weren't able to identify major incidents right when they came into their service desk. Next up, we saw how solution based can help empower your end users by giving them the information they need to resolve trivial and simple issues like maybe VPN connection issues or printer issues or very small issues that they don't really need a technician to help them out with, right? So it saves their time and your service desk time as well. And finally, we saw how you can make informed business decisions by using the various metrics available to you and how you can use the new and improved surveys feature that we have to collect customer satisfaction feedback and ensure you improve your incident management process to improve your end user satisfaction. And yeah, so that's all we saw today. And I really hope you learned something new today. And I hope you found a few new features that you understood better and that you can use in your organization to improve your incident management process. Thank you so much for joining the session. I hope you learned something new today. And please do join us for our future episodes as well. Again, we'll be going into all the features that we have available and any new features that we have released, right? So that you guys know how to, so that you guys are aware of it and you can use Service Desk Plus to its maximum potential. And if you want to know more about Service Desk Plus and the features available, we have our admin guide, we have our release notes, we also have a video zone where you can go and access our previous masterclass series as well. We also have a thriving community where you can go post your questions and get help from either one of us or from one of your peers. We also have our support portal at this at this link on your screen. And please do write to us. We'd love to hear from you. Any feedback that you have about the session, anything that we can improve, or any feature that we can talk about, or if you have any questions in general, please do write to us, and we'll be happy to help you. And thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you for attending the session. Hope you learned something new today. Have a great day. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the session right now. Thank you.